And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wisdom Transmissions Gathering. Happy to see you all here. We're going to have another great webcast today. We're going to be going over an inner practice. We're going to be looking into, again, an Adronis transmission as well, too, a transmission he'll bring through of his own accord. Then we'll be going into Q&A, and then at the end, we'll be getting into distance healing requests just for 3 people. And then we'll get into a group healing at the end. So I hope you are all doing well today. Just a reminder that tomorrow I won't be here, so I'm going to be, I won't have the signposts this week on Rumble, but I'll be back next week after that. So in case you guys are wondering why signposts aren't happening tomorrow, I'm going to be going on a little mini trip with my fiance for a couple days, and then we'll come back, and then next week we will have the signposts ready to go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead firstly and start off with some announcements.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, etherx.co.
And we do have the 23% discount store-wide off all products on Etherix. This is good till tomorrow, end of day. So by tomorrow, end of day, the 23% discount will not be there. There will be another discount, but it will be a lot more less. So a lot less, I should say, not a lot more less, a lot less when we get onto the 1st of March. So again, there's no discount code required. Basically, all the products will basically be marked off with their sale price. So that is good till end of day tomorrow. I'm also going to be sharing with you guys with this. This is the brand new Source Super Light. Okay, this is not in just yet, but it's going to be on the way in the next couple of weeks. So it will be available on Etherix to purchase. And you can see that this is a super duper powerful super light. So right now we have the source flashlights, like what you see here on the left with the source flashlight. And this is its next step up. So this is again referred to as the Source Super Light. It has a strobe function as well too on it. Has a high setting, a low setting, and a strobe setting. Okay. But it is incredibly powerful. Actually, just a couple of days ago, my fiance accidentally got hit by a baseball in the left cheek, and as soon as she came home, I could see her just holding this pack of ice on her cheek, and I said, "Okay, go get the flashlight. Go get the flashlight." And so she grabbed this one. This is again kind of the prototype. We have 2 prototypes here at home, and she just turned it on, and of course, covering her eyes, was just able to place the flashlight on that area. And within just a few minutes, the pain went away completely. There was no swelling, there was no redness or anything of that. She was afraid that she might get a black eye, but she didn't. So that's the good news. And of course, when those flashlights do come out, I always say never ever shine those directly into the eye. You can basically put it around the lower area of the face, but do not shine it directly in the eye. That thing is like 5 times more powerful than the source flashlights that we have. So that is going to be available very, very soon. In the next couple of weeks, it's going to be coming here around mid-March. So once that is ready and available, I'll be letting everybody know through our Etherix newsletter. So what you can do is just go to etherix.co, scroll down to the bottom of the home page, and you'll see the sign-up form there. Just to leave your email, and you'll be receiving free newsletters giving you updates on the newest products and newest happenings relating to Etherix itself. All right. So again, take advantage of that 23% discount store-wide sale that's available now until the end of day tomorrow. Okay, moving on. So we have the Bosnia tour. We have about half of this tour already sold out. So we're basically just going to get the second half of the tour. So I have talked about this going back a couple of months. I wanted to give it a little bit more time because we still have quite a bit of time before September arrives. But again, we're having the Bosnia Pyramids and Ancient Healing Tour. Explore the ancient sun pyramid, larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. The healing chambers within the pyramid and its construction revealed by Adronis. Adronis is going to come through and give a lot of deep information relating to the Bosnian pyramids. Ancient healing practices and environmental healing. I will be teaching this through the tour as well too. Witnessing sacred sites and harnessing sacred power to take back home with you. So I'll be imbuing crystals, imbuing rocks, and other forms of jewelry that you may have with the pyramid energy as well too. as well as other sacred sites that we're going to visit. Okay, so to register, just go to www.wowtours.de. It's 7 days, 8 nights from September 15th to September 22nd of 2024. So I'm looking forward to that. That's just a few months away. So I'd love to see you guys join me on this incredible once-in-a-lifetime tour going to Bosnia, checking out pyramids that are larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. All right. And of course, private sessions, distance healing, and 3 questions by email are available. I should say that the full body source healing sessions have now sold out, so I will not be doing the full body source healing sessions anymore because they are all sold out for the duration of March. And you guys are going to have Radiate. With you guys being able to have Radiate, the new app that I'm creating for etherics, Radiate is going to be a very, very powerful technology, and that's basically going to replace the full body source healing sessions and the distance healing sessions. You just have Radiate. Like again, you can get a free version when it comes out. It should be ready again probably around mid April or so. But you basically can download the free version, and then of course there's the full version as well too, which you can purchase, and that's really all you need. It's just being able to utilize that each and every single day, and your body is going to be rejuvenated and replenished with all the energy it needs so that the body can self-heal. Okay, but in the meantime, for March, I still do have some private sessions, some distance healing, and 3 question by email sessions available. If you guys don't want to wait long, if you want to basically get an immediate distance healing, or if you want to get a very accurate, powerful tarot reading, my fiance Brienne does a great job with that. You can find her website at trinityhomehealing.com. She's already got quite a few clients, and she's doing very, very well. She's building up her business, and if you guys have not checked out Brienne yet, I'd have to ask why. Why not? She's very, very good at what she does. She's very, very good at healing. She's had nothing but really good, buzzing, positive reviews with her distance healing and with her tarot. I know you guys want to talk to me, and that's great, but also get a chance to talk to Brienne because she does an incredible, amazing job with her work through distance healing and through tarot readings and also through feng shui. All right, so again, her website is trinityhomehealing.com, and our new website now is wisdomtransmissions.com. Okay, so that is it for announcements. Now we're going to go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. So we're going to look into a particular inner practice today. This is kind of like taking it to the next level past heart rate variability. So if you guys have tuned in to me for a while, you know that for quite some time I've talked about heart rate variability breath. And what this does is stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. It stimulates the vagus nerve. It stimulates the dorsovagal complex. It gets you out of fight, flight, or freeze response to what sympathetic breathing does. And it gets you more into the parasympathetic form of breathing, which again brings you into calmness, relaxation, expansion, bliss, centeredness. Okay? And that again is where heart rate variability comes in, where we often just breathe in through the nose for 4 seconds. We breathe out the nose for 6 seconds. But today we're going to take a look at the next level. This is something that I'll probably be promoting a lot more than HRV, is what's known as Rachaka. And that is spelled Rechaka, the Rachaka breath. Basically, it just means extended breath. Okay? So when you're looking at the Rachaka breath, you're breathing in for 4 seconds through the nose, and then you're breathing out for 8 seconds out the nose. So whatever inhale amount you take, so if you're breathing in for 4 or 5 or 6, then you're breathing out for 8 or 10 or 12. Okay, so you're basically just doubling the breath as you exhale. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to look a little bit more into the Rachaka breathing, because what this is doing is, like I said, this is kind of like the level 2 of heart rate variability. Yes, this brings you into the dorsovagal. Yes, this brings you into the parasympathetic, but it also helps to oxygenate the prana contained inside your chest. And we do one other form of action to ensure that that stays in that alignment, and that is working together with the Uddiyana bandhan, otherwise known as a navel lock. So what you're doing is you're just basically tightening the ab muscles within your abdomen. Okay? So you're tightening your ab muscles within the abdomen, and you're just holding it there. So basically what we're attempting to do is attempting to keep the abdomen still. It's not going to be 100% still. But what it does is as you keep the abdomen still, all of the prana here in the chest now starts to build. It becomes a lot more potent. This is your immune center right here between the chest and the solar plexus. Okay? So what we're doing is we're energizing that. We energize that through the Rachaka, and we hold that energy so that nothing is leaking down into the digestive system. Nothing is leaking down into the abdomen. If it leaks down into the abdomen, it doesn't hurt you or anything like that, but what it does is it creates an inefficiency. So it becomes a little more ineffective if you're actually just letting your belly hang out and letting the breath happen. So what you're doing is you're just tightening your abs, right? So again, if 100% is you completely sucking in your gut, you're only really going about 50% of the way. You're just tightening the ab muscles, okay? So we're going to do that today together with Rachaka. We're going to do 10 rounds of Rachaka breathing, 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. If that's too much for you, then try for 3 seconds in and 6 seconds out, okay? So we'll do Rachaka now. So what we want to do is just keep the spine nice and straight. Feel free to swallow the saliva first so that the saliva is not getting in the way of your breathing. And again, slightly tighten the abdomen, right? Getting it into Uddiyana Bandha, a light lock, a light navel lock, okay? So that everything is contained right here in the chest around the area of the solar plexus, okay? So we're going to breathe in for 4, breathe out for 8. If you need to do less, go ahead and do less. So let's go ahead and begin. Deep breath in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and relax. All right. So just taking a moment right now just to feel all of that energy work that you have done. Just feeling it again in the chest. You can even feel it in the abdomen. You can feel it just throughout the entire body. Just with all that breath work, all that energy work that you have done. Now again, we're only just doing it for 10 rounds. But usually what I would suggest is giving yourself about a good 3 to 6 minutes of doing Rachaka each and every single day. Okay? It's tremendously beneficial for you. Because what it's doing, not only are you, again, stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, but what you're doing is you're learning to expand your lungs a lot more. Now, one of the tips, especially if you're doing a lot of deep pranayama work, is if you're sitting in a chair, you want to basically give yourself a little bit of space. Okay, so you're kind of scooting yourself forward a little bit. So you have maybe about 6 inches of space between the back of the chair and your back itself. Oops, bumping my table here. So about 6 inches of space between the back of the chair and your spine itself, okay? Or what you could also do is just take like a small pillow cushion and just put it at the back of the chair, just so that you have a little bit of room, so that you're allowing your lungs to expand. A lot of mistakes that we make is we put our back right against the chair like this, and we actually have a hard time breathing in, right? We could probably only go about 80 or 85% of the way if our back is actually touching something, right? So if it's touching the back of a chair, if we're sitting on like one of those little yoga chairs on the floor as well too, if our back is touching anything, then basically we're restricting our breathing by about 10 to 15% approximately, okay? So what you're doing is you're just giving yourself a little bit of space, you're just scooting forward a little bit, or just put a little cushion at the lower back, and that way you're getting the full oxygenation of your breath. You're getting 100% expansion of the lungs, and that's exactly what you want. And as you're doing something like Rachaka, what's going to happen over time is that your breath is going to become a lot more clear. It's going to become a lot more expansive. And the reason why we want to have the 100% capacity of the breathing of the lungs is because this is what's going to give you a lot more energy in the body. This is what's going to build up your prana. This is what's going to make you much more potent. This is what's going to strengthen your immune system. So this is exactly why we do something like Raka. This is exactly why we do pranayama. Another great thing about pranayama breathing techniques is that they're clearing about 70% of toxins out of your body, whereas urination, defecation, and sweating only takes about 30% of toxins out of the body. You want the remaining 70% gone, then you need to start doing pranayama breath. You need to do the deep cleansing exhales, like what you're learning here with Raka, like what you've learned here previously through the Omkara Kriya, where you're doing the Om and bending forward. Then, of course, the Kakashuddhi Kriya, right? That pushing breath, that crow breath as well too. The Raka on top of that. Another one is the Kand, right? The dividing breath or the pulse breath. That too is also very beneficial. So it's these 4, even sometimes 5 pranayamas. There's another one I haven't taught you guys yet, but it is on YouTube. It's referred to as Agnisara. Okay, we'll look into that one probably next week. That one's a little bit more advanced, but I'm pretty sure you guys can handle it, most of you, right? And that is where you're actually flapping the belly and actually fanning the fire of your solar plexus. So that, again, that is also building up your immune system tremendously. So we'll look into a lot more of that next week. And again, I have more exercises for you guys in the coming weeks as well, too. So that is our inner practices segment here for today for the webcast. So now we're going to go ahead and switch gears. We're going to go ahead now and bring Adronis in, and Adronis will come in and share a transmission with all of you. After his transmission, we'll get into Q&A. We'll do a little bit of Q&A for a bit, and after Q&A, we will get into some distance healing requests, and then end with a group healing segment, okay? So again, thank you guys for joining me here today. I will go ahead and just take a moment to bring Adronis in, and we'll get started with his interaction today. Here we go. Terra Soul Star Sirius Adronis We're here. At this time, we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I'm Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. What we'd like all of you to do at this time is simply allow yourselves to get relaxed, get comfortable, and tune in to the vibrations of Sirius, so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all of the information that we have to share. Also understand that all of the information that we shall provide for you today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. We will speak to you today about the nature of the power of visualization. So, we have talked to quite a lot of you, and there are those of you in that sense who actually rely very strongly on the power of visualization. And there are also those of you who feel that you cannot intend that visualization to show up no matter what you do. The whole idea is that, and we say this with great honesty, every single one of you has the power to visualize. Every single one of you. This is not something that is omitted from a particular person. The reason why many of you in that sense can visualize is because you have made that part of your life. You have made that part of yourselves. And the reason why there are those of you who cannot visualize is because you've never really stimulated it through yourself. To say that you can't visualize is to say that it is impossible for me to have my body become flexible. It is absolutely possible for your body to become flexible. It is absolutely possible for your body to adapt to changes that you therefore make through continual development. So therefore, it is also possible for you to visualize. And all you really have to do is start off simple. So for those of you who struggle with the idea of visualization, this is where you're utilizing the ability of gesture. What do we mean by that? Well, we would just say for all of you right now to close your eyes, particularly those who are having trouble visualizing. And we just want you to basically look at a two-dimensional triangle within your mind right now. Now, we have shared this with some before, and they said, well, Adronis, I can't even see that. All right? So here's what you do to help you with improving your visualization if you feel like as soon as you close your eyes, it's just a blank screen. There's nothing else coming in. So this is where you start working with your gesture. You start off at the top, right here, your right index finger in the air and drawing a branch down, representing the first third of the triangle. Drawing the base, the second third of the triangle, and drawing the third line angling together at the apex. So all you're doing is you're drawing out a triangle continuously. Draw out the triangle. Draw out the triangle. Simple as that. And the more that you're drawing it out, because you could even do it on a table, drawing it out with your finger, drawing it out with your finger. Same thing with a circle. Draw a circle in the air. Draw a circle with your finger on a table. And continue to do that. All right. Now let's do the infinity symbol, the figure 8. And just continue to do that. And just see that in your mind. See what you are drawing on the table. See what you are drawing in the air. By just continuing to do this. And you will notice that as you focus your mind and you're continuing to utilize that particular gesture to which you're drawing in the air, your inner sight is going to follow the way. It may not be immediate, but over time you're going to notice that. Okay, I'm drawing the figure 8, so I can see the figure 8 in my mind right now. Congratulations. We would just say, just poke a dot. Poke a dot right in the air. A dot. A dot. A dot. And as you do that more, you'll be able to see a dot within your mind. So just start off with simple two-dimensional shapes. Even the dot representing the one-dimensional. Start off with the one-dimensional. Start off with the dot. Then start with a triangle. Start with a square. Start with a circle. And as you start to become a lot more aligned to that, then you can start working with three-dimensional shapes. You may start to work with a pyramid. You may start to work with a sphere. You may start to work with a cube. And again, just continuing to build yourself up. Because again, you can also just draw a cube three-dimensionally. Just like that. And you're seeing the cube come to life. You may even want to simply get a piece of paper and just starting to scratch down some of these simple drawings. And what we would also suggest that if you are doing that particular route, taking again a piece of paper and drawing something as simple as a cube on it, and we would ask you to stare at that cube for approximately 60 to 90 seconds. After 60 to 90 seconds, close your eyes and reproduce in your mind what you have just drawn on the piece of paper. So again, these are simple practices. But again, if you are starting out because you feel like your mind is a blank screen and nothing's coming through, we understand that. Brad himself was not always so gifted visually, but he can still visualize. So the whole idea here is starting off with the dot. Can you poke the dot in the middle of the air? And can you see that reciprocating in the mind? The answer is yes. Good. Move on to the two-dimensional drawings. Move on to the triangle. Move on to the square. Move on to the rectangle. Move on to the circle. Can you do that? Are you starting to get better with that? Does your mind reciprocate those gestures? Yes. Good. Now move on to three-dimensional drawings. Your pyramid, your cube, your sphere. Now that you have been able to create their frame, fill them with color. All right? And another way you can do that is just taking your hands just like this and seeing the color red in between both of your hands. And you just intend it. Or again, you can do it even more simpler. Just take a piece of paper out, get a pencil crayon or a felt marker, and just start drawing out the color red, the color blue, the color green. And start seeing that on the paper and let it reciprocate through your mind. You are training your mind to become visual. It is impossible for you not to be visual by developing yourself. All right? So again, there's no way that you cannot be visual. The reason, again, why many of you are not visual is because you haven't developed it within yourself. You've been utilizing other means to, again, cope and adapt with how you, in that sense, perceive. So again, why is visualization so powerful? Because visualization is helping you to work with matter. That's the idea. It's helping you to work together with atomic arrangement. Now, first and foremost, the most important thing is your intention. Behind the intention itself, that is where all life itself emerges. The intent for all life to be here followed through that very intention. So through your intent follows the nature of visualization functioning together as a tool. Is it absolutely necessary for you to visualize? No, but it certainly is very handy and it certainly is very powerful. So again, as you learn to visualize a lot more and you see things with great clarity, with great vividness, you will see you actually exercising matter. You will see the idea of your events, your situations, your manifestations coming together through great clarity. And you just start off in this way. Start with the first dimension, start with the second dimension, start with the third dimension, and then add some color. Once you start to become quite, shall we say, talented with that, then you would move on into landscapes. Start seeing a beautiful grassy meadow. Start seeing a beautiful beach with the rolling tides coming in upon the shore. Looking upon the sky, the beautiful blue sky with clouds passing by. You're just creating these beautiful landscapes. So that would be the next step past color. And then as you do that, you now start to bring all of these particular forms of segments together, while in a landscape being able to see all these shapes, being able to spin them, being able to shrink them, being able to expand them, being able to have them glow with beautiful color, being able to put multiple colors upon them, being able to fit a shape within a shape, and being able to see that shape rotate, and so on and so forth. As you dedicate yourself to the practice, your mind will follow suit, because all it's seeing here is that you are continuously intending for visualization to become established. Do not expect this to happen over a weekend. Do not expect this to happen over a week, for this will take months and even years. But the more that you're developing it, you're receiving a very powerful and handy tool to learning how to visualize so that you are sculpting your own reality. And that sculpting of reality comes through the reliability of your own visualization. Not only of the visualization, but your not just believability, but certainty of what you are creating is now coming to life, where you can now see scenarios of you moving into a new type of career. You can now see scenarios of you traveling the world. You can now see scenarios of you meeting some new people, new friends, new colleagues, a new partner, reconnecting with family, whatever it may be, you're able to visualize it. And that, again, is giving you a potential boost here. So start off small, take your time. This is not a race. This is all about development. And every single one of you are capable of this. All right? We thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction. We will now conclude and return to the conduit, and we'll begin with your question and answer period. Thank you. Okay. That's a great topic, because sometimes I've had that when I first started out too. I wasn't so visual. I had a lot of problems with my visualization as well too. But again, if I started doing simple things like that, I could visualize with the best of them, right? Just being able to take your hand, your finger, and then just drawing out a triangle, and you can just instantly see it in your mind as it comes together. So remember the power of gesture as well too. It can be a piece of paper and a pen, and it can just be your finger, right? And just drawing out these very simple things from first dimension, second dimension, three-dimensional objects, to colors, to landscapes, and then implementing and integrating them all together to create beautiful inner visualizations with yourself. Because that is basically what's creating the inner Akash with what we call the Chit Akash, okay? Now, some people will mistake the idea of visualization with pineal activation, and that's not what it's about, okay? Because you are visual, that does not mean that you have a pineal activation. What you're visual of in that sense really comes from in here, really comes from around the area of the brow. Now, of course, the medulla oblongata, the pineal, and of course the mind screen, which we refer to as the Chittakash, are all responsible for that. But that is a natural given because you have a little eyeball in the center of your brain, and that's what it's doing. It's basically just functioning in regards to its intent. So again, where people have trouble visualizing, it's not because they're impaired, because they have calcification or anything of that nature. It's not to say we're dismissing that, but the reason is that they haven't developed it. They've been so used to having other senses, like watching a blind man or a blind woman rely on their other senses to perceive their life. So what happens is we're just not encouraged to develop that, right? And then basically when that sense, as we don't develop that when we're young, that eye starts to close. And all we're doing is we're opening that eye again, okay? But again, the opening of the eye does not represent pineal activation. It just represents the opening of your inner sight. And basically this is where your Chittakash, your mind screen, becomes active, where you can start seeing things a lot more, simple visualizations. All right. So again, the more that you practice it, the more you try it out, the more you develop it, the more this will come about for you. All right, great. So let's go ahead and start off with some questions. We already got some donations, so thank you guys. We're going to start off with a donation-based question. So again, I was going to say that if you have a priority question, just feel free to leave a donation with it, and that will put your question in priority sequence. After the donations, then I'll be going up through just the top of the list and then going back down. Okay, so this one here is from Amanda Lundeen, and thank you for your donation. Amanda says, can you please ask Adronis, is our universe or time matrix based upon 12 or 15 dimensions? Okay, one moment. We thank you very much for your question. Now, Amanda, here's something for you to understand. Time doesn't really have a dimension. All right? Time is not really a dimension in that way. You are often referring to it as a particular dimension because it represents the nature of something that is immaterial. So to some degree, there is what you would know as a temporal equivalent to the nature of a nether dimension. But if you're looking at a dimension itself, you have to understand that in this particular way, think of an up and a down pertaining to the dimension. There is the material side of it that represents what you know as physical reality. And then when you flip it around, it represents the immaterial side that is governed through the nature of what you would know as chronology and continuity. So again, those particular domains, in that sense, on the other side of the dimension, would be much more causal in nature. You see, the causal in that sense also represents an immaterial, shall we say, dimension. But it's not really a dimension in this example that we're giving. So imagine a straight line. And again, at the top of this line is what you would know as the material dimension. At the bottom represents the immaterialism, but it is doing all of the appropriate work to therefore enable everything within that material dimension to function in the way that it is. It's like a funnel. And this is where your scientists get very confused. They think that there is a space and time dimension. There's no such thing. Space itself is dimensionless. Time itself is but a measurement. Time is only a measurement. So when you're looking at the nature of material and immaterial, these are the planes that coexist in between the line that you would understand as your own fabric of experience. Your fabric of experience exists within that line. to where, again, all materialism works together through the nature of that line, and all immaterialism that keeps that particular timeline flowing in the way that it does, the essence of it, so to speak, is the immaterial portion of that timeline, as you would say, or a dimensional line if you wish. So there really is no such thing as a space and time dimension. It doesn't work that way. So what you call space, you're actually referring to as location. Location is what you would therefore put in regards to coordinates, perimeters, etc. Not so much space. Space has no particular properties to it. Time itself is just a ruler. It's a ruler of temporal nature. So you basically have two large measurement rulers here, one for location, one for temporal units. But they don't really exist. They're just measurements. It's like taking your own meter stick that you have back in your old high schools so that you could draw a line with a piece of chalk on the blackboard and thinking that this meter stick itself governs the nature of time. It doesn't. That it governs the dimension of space. It doesn't. It's a handy measurement device. So when you're looking at the nature of temporal units, this is where you have mathematics. This is where you have calculation. You're looking at all of that because that is part of measuring the immaterial side of the split between the upper plane and the lower plane, the material and the immaterial. Or if you wish, you can flip it the other way, having at the bottom, again, the material, and having at the top, the immaterial. But that is primarily how it works. Now, again, you ask about the nature of a time matrix. As we stated, time is just a measurement. You are using mathematics, you are using calculation to utilize some particular communication pertaining to the nature of temporal ideas. But again, there is no time. Everything, again, works together in this sequence. Like we said, you draw a horizontal line. At the bottom here is the material. At the top here is the immaterial. You call it time and you call it space. Both are inaccurate. So when your science is saying, oh, there's 3 dimensions of space, there's 3 dimensions of time, wrong. That is incorrect. Because again, you're looking at it through measurement. But the idea of dimensions really doesn't work that way. If you want to look at the nature pertaining to how the entire structure of the universal grid functions, you would look at the flower of life. You would look at the 144 faces of God. Therefore, in the somewhat compliant nature to your question, you would be seeing 144 dimensions. All right? So again, looking at that flower of life that has been around for many thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years of your culture, it was not invented by anybody. It was not distorted by anybody. It is again something that was retrieved and therefore brought into your awareness as a civilization and saying, there's the universe. There's you. Understanding your own energetic structure, understanding the entire coordinate structure pertaining to the function and flow and coordination of the universe. 144. That would be the idea. In some way that we could give you, in a way, in an analogy, to give you the idea of the structure of the universal template. All right? Thank you very much for your question. Okay, very good question, Amanda. Thank you very much. Hope that answer helped you. Okay. Okay, so this is from Nikki. She did leave a donation. Okay, so Nikki will be getting into your healing session here shortly. So we're just doing Q&A right now, but thank you for your donation. So I'll get back to you shortly in regards to your request. All right, so let's go ahead and start off at the top of the chat. And like I said, I also forgot to mention, guys, please no personal questions. Okay, if you have personal questions, I do have to skip them. Personal questions are for private sessions. Okay. So this one here is from Asim. Asim says, question for Adronis. A spiritual teacher recently mentioned that working with a causal body is a far easier way for manifestation. If true, can Adronis give us a cool technique to do so? A cool technique. All right. Yes, Adronis will comment on that because he was actually just talking about the causal body through his previous transmission. Okay, so one moment, we'll look into that. We thank you very much, Asim, for your question. Yes, and your teacher would be correct. This is exactly why we say that intention matters. Intention is an idea. Intention is forged by the nature of a conception. And the conception is exactly what the causal plane represents. You see, again, the causal plane is not material. It basically exists as this plane of conception, this plane of idea, this plane to where, as you would say, the blueprint of all life resides. But again, if you are trying to go into the causal plane, you really would not be able to relate to any form of experiences, other than you putting a bubble of your own reality over yourself, and therefore being able to look at the causal plane, very similar like a 360-degree panoramic kaleidoscope, where everything exists all at once. So the causal plane represents the plane of ideas. It represents the plane of conception. So when you're working together with the causal plane, it's all coming through the nature of concept. This is exactly, for example, how your Nikola Tesla was able to develop all of the very forms of inventions he was able to, because he was tuning into the causal plane, and many of these ideas were becoming visualized through himself. So the causal plane represents that nature of cause. It represents conception. It represents idea. Whenever you have an idea, whenever you have a conception, that is you looking at the overlay of the causal plane. You see, the causal plane, the astral plane, and the physical plane all overlaid together. So when you look at the nature of the causal plane and seeing how something is caused, how is something conceived, how is something put into being, and you have that idea, that's the causal plane playing with you. When you're seeing that idea being brought forward into manifestation, that's the astral plane playing with you. And when you start to experience that manifestation that has been brought into being, exploring it, looking at it, touching it, tasting it, smelling it, seeing it, hearing it, etc., that is you playing with the material plane of that manifestation. So the manifestation came together through three particular segments: the causal for the idea, the astral for the manifestation, the physical for the experience and the exploration of that particular manifestation. So that is exactly how it works. So your teacher is correct that everything starts with the causal. Could we give you an idea? Well, that's again, when an idea comes to you, you're playing with the causal. When a conception comes to you, that is the causal. When an innovation strikes you, that's you playing with the causal. It's all about ideas. It's all about conceptions. It's all about inceptions, innovations, intention, to therefore make that into solid reality. To where it appears, you see the astral. To where you experience and explore it, you see the physical. That's the idea of the triangular trinity relationship between the causal, the astral, and the physical. All right? Thank you for your question. Okay, great. So seeing that's what I'd like you to ask your teacher. Can you talk about the trinity relating to the causal, the astral, and the physical? All right, about what the causal actually is. So again, guys, that's what I'd ask you. What's the causal? It is to where all ideas, all conceptions stem from. It is, again, what you would know as the higher mind of God, the higher mind of spirit, right? The higher mind is what brings about the architecture to every single idea. And what you see manifest is the product of that conception through intention coming into the astral plane, that therefore materializes, condenses itself into the physical plane. And then through the physical, you can start to experiment, explore, and understand it a lot more, playing with it through exploration and experience, and that is the physical. And there will always be some type of relationship. Even if you're going into the astral, you're still seeing things manifest and you're still exploring it, which means there still is some form of physicality, even in the astral as well too. In order for you to go up in the causal, because I have gone up into the causal as well too, it's true, you basically have to kind of put a bubble around yourself. And then you start seeing this kind of kaleidoscopic experience with the causal planes. I've been up to all three planes consciously. And the causal plane is quite unique. You can't really make sense of it. It's like looking at 1,000 kaleidoscopes at once. Your brain just can't make sense of it. But it's all ideas. It's everything. It's all blueprint reality. all at once, right? It just works all together omnipresently, omnidirectionally, and that is the higher mind. Just like the heart has the pericardium as its sheath, the causal is the pericardium of the mind. That is the sheath. That is the higher mind. That is to where all ideas, all conceptions itself stems from, for the omnipresence nature of the higher mind, or the causal plane. Okay? So again, very good question, Nassim. Thank you for that. Okay, this one here is from Len. Len says, a question for Adronis. Adronis often mentions 4 types of beings: angels, archangels, seraphim, and creator gods. Can he describe them, their powers, and what we as a species still don't know about them? Okay, so we'll do what we can in the time that we have, okay? But we'll look into that through the angels, the archangels, the seraphim, and the creator gods. Okay, one moment. We thank you very much for your question. Yes, we have talked about the 4 particular divisions in that way, but not really divisions, but rather hierarchies pertaining to these higher forces. To what you would refer to at yourself, you forget that you are the 5th of those others. All right? So the 5th representing humans, the 4th representing angels, the 3rd being the archangels, or shall we say not the archangels, and then the 2nd being the seraphim, and the 1st being the creator gods. Now, this is all representing a particular ladder of graduation. So what is it to be an angel? Because many of you talk about it at a time. And again, we're only giving you this label as something as a form of a convenience, because they don't even really refer to themselves as this. That's a human term for it. All right? Angel, in that sense, can also be referred to as, again, the angles of life. Now, again, the angles of life basically represent concentration of light, concentration of force. And basically, the angels themselves would represent the nature, representing that of those who are of service. They are servants of life. They are servants of light. They live to serve. They do not really think about themselves whatsoever. Everything is all about the other to them. And they simply live to serve as the children of God. Whereas, again, you are as well too. But again, if we're going back into the nature of the human component, the human component is to learn the nature of love. And it is to be boundless. It is to be boundless through the nature of love itself. That is what the human design, the human component represents. Therefore, when you go into the boundlessness of love, you put that love into service. So think of the human being and its component where it's learning about love as the 3rd chakra within yourself. Then you move up into the 4th chakra, which represents the heart. The heart, again, would represent the angelic quality of wanting to be of service, of wanting to be of complete and total empathy, and helping all of those through the nature of service. Then you move up into the archangels, which would represent in that correspondence to the Vishuddhi, the Vishuddha, the throat chakra, which represents a combination of all of the elements. Combination of all the elements pertaining to the archangels is that they are being the architects and they are being the administrators of the entire universe. They are governing everything. They are ensuring that the flow in regards to the harmony and balance of the universe is being maintained. So they represent a nature of great wisdom. They have a great deal of wisdom. In fact, there's nothing they don't know. That's the nature of the archangel. So the archangel is graduating past the idea of unconditional loving service and is moving into the idea of wisdom and grand responsibility, of expression, of governance, pertaining to that the flow of the universe is kept together in harmony. That's the nature of the archangels. Then you go up into the seraphim. And the seraphim would represent the nature of insight and foresight. But they would represent, again, the, shall we say, emissaries representing God. They do not really function too much in the idea of emotion or feeling or anything of that nature. Their simple presence is to therefore deliver the word of God. They are, again, God's divine messengers, we will say. All right? So they are basically, in that sense, always standing in the light, surrounding God. They are again being the guardians of God. They are being the guardian angels of souls. That's the nature of what you would term as the seraphim. And then you move beyond that into the nature of a creator God. Now, the nature of a creator God does have certain particular types of levels to it, because there are creator gods that have a great deal of attributes, and there are creator gods that have very few attributes, where they actually are having their own particular planes in which they can themselves manifest life within those planes. Not something that an angel or an archangel or a seraphim can do. The creator God themselves is able to have their own particular realm, their own particular space, you could say in a way their own particular verse, and being able to manifest life within it, and being able to experience all forms of life omnipresently through their own creation. They are basically being gods themselves through their own states of manifestation, but still working through the one God to manifest as a living God, a creator God. They are the ones who can generate worlds. They are the ones who can generate stars. They are the ones who can generate galaxies. They are the ones who can generate all forms of life through a universe. That's the idea. That's their nature as a creator God. They are being given all of the powers and manifestation of God, and are only second to God as the one. That is the creator God nature. Right? We really cannot emphasize all of this too much because your vocabulary through this language is extremely limited. So there's only so much that we can tell you about these particular components. But most importantly, you have to remember that humanity is again the fifth rung of the ladder pertaining to this understanding. Humanity, angels, archangels, seraphim, creator gods, all below God, that again work together in these states of expression, in these states of responsibility, to making the universe what it is, to nourishing life into what it is, to balance everything into what it is, to ushering forward the will of God for what it is, and to express in the manifestation of life as it is. That is the nature of these components that we are speaking of. All right? Thank you for your question. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Len, for your question. Good questions today, guys. You guys are on fire today. All right. So, Barbara, I see here that you have a healing request, so we'll get back to you shortly. We're going to be doing questions here for about another 20 minutes or so, and then we'll be getting into some healing requests, okay? So about 11:15 my time, we'll be getting started on some healing requests. 3 of them, just 3 people today. And then ending with a group session. Okay, so Big Cat says, hello, Adronis. Will we be having reincarnations and recognizing old acquaintances in the next few centuries? Thanks. We thank you very much, Big Cat, for your question. You will have, as you would say, experiences in meeting acquaintances and people in that sense that are helping to deliver a greater realization of yourself right here, right now. You do not need to wait incarnations for that. You see, that's an illusion. That's playing with the ego. That's playing with duality. Everything that you are right now is already perfect. But the reason why you don't see that is because you have shrouded yourself through all of these veils. All these veils of confusion, all of this fog is all around you. We mean it very, very, very literally. That if you are able to remove all of those veils, you will be able to get right up to that ladder as a creator God in this lifetime. But the thing is, many of you cannot see that, and you choose not to see that. Oh, Adronis, I can't do that. I'm a human being. I have this job. I work at this supermarket. I have kids. I have a wife. I have a husband, etc., etc. And there's every particular excuse in the book about you trying to justify yourself in being this tall. Whereas we're telling you that if you are truly and completely committed in bringing yourself into the living godhood that you naturally are, you will achieve it here and now. We are not talking about incarnations down the road because, again, you're still straying away looking at things pertaining to a future parameter. When we say, let's remove that from the chalkboard, let's clear that away. Or you're too worried about what you have done in the past and thinking that all of those things that you've done in the past will jeopardize any attempt for you to develop yourself further. Well, let's get the eraser and let's remove that from the chalkboard as well too. Now, you don't have those things, so what remains? You, in all of your power, centered right here, right now, consciously. And therefore, behold God. That's the idea. We are not saying these things as some particular type of biblical proverb. We are not saying these things to you just as something to give you a great deal of hope. That's not what we're doing. When we say that you are living gods, we mean it literally. Right now, you don't know it. Because you are not allowing yourself to go within and seeing where all these veils are, where you are binding yourself in as a mortal human being with all of these particular attributes that you are continuing to validate, that represents an impairment within yourself where you choose to see yourself in a dualistic state of being. That's the only reason why you're not there. It's the only reason. Do you think somebody put all of this on you? No. You have put all of this on yourself by the choices and the decisions that you have made throughout life, by how you decide to perceive yourself. That's why these veils are on you. That's why these shackles are on you. Why is it that you have had certain people throughout your history who have been able to completely clear away these veils and are seen by others as living gods? Your Christ, your Buddha, your Krishna, so forth. That is because they were able to peel away the veils. They were no longer agreeing to see themselves attached to this world. Was your own Jesus that often told these other priests, you are of this world, but I am not of this world. What is he saying? Some people interpret, oh, he must be extraterrestrial. No, has nothing to do with him being extraterrestrial. Has everything for him to do with being able to claim his sovereignty as the Christ, as Christhood. Just as Buddha claimed his sovereignty to be the Buddha, just as Krishna claimed himself to be the supreme personality of Godhead. They were not just claiming that as empty words. They are that. Therefore, you are too. There is no difference between any of those ones and yourself other than the veils that you have placed and erected upon yourself because of your beliefs. We are not telling you this to humor you. We are not telling you this to give you hope. And we are not telling this to you as an analogy. We literally mean it. That you are living gods, but you don't know it. And it's available to you as close as your breath is to breathe in, right now. But you don't see it. You choose not to. And that is the question we have to ask you. Why do you choose not to see it? You know what the common answer is? Because I don't really think I deserve to see myself in that kind of light. I think I would be performing some type of blasphemy. Or I'm too afraid. Or this is for somebody else to do. You see? These become the dualistic excuses. This becomes the shadow of the ego, where it is keeping you in the shadow. It has this gigantic boulder that is blocking out the sun, and you're crouching in the shadow of the ego, and you're not even bothering to peek your head around to actually see the light. You keep that big boulder there, and you hang on to yourself in the shadows, thinking that you're this itty-bitty, teeny-weeny, puny little thing, when we have never ever called you that. We have always called you living gods, or in many ways, gods in training. because that's what you're doing. Your training is to realize that you are God. And we mean that literally. Does not take incarnations to know this. It's available to you now. Does not take you incarnations to meet other acquaintances, teachers, apprentices, etc., that are helping you to see yourself, because that's all they're here for. They're just reflections anyways. They're reflections for you to help you realize your greatness. For you to realize your greatness is your own responsibility, not anybody else's. So it's up to you. To be that living God here and now is well within your grasp. All right? We thank you for your question. Yes, and that's something important to remember, guys. You have to remember that everything that you have happened to you in life is all through you, right? Life happens through you. It does not happen to you. It does not happen at you. It always flows through you. And you are the gate. You are the gate that can either be very, very narrow and see yourself in this mortal form and nothing else and put every excuse under the sun about how you're suffering and how you're hurting, or you can open that gate like the gates of heaven and let everything just flow through. There is an old saying that Lao Tzu once said, because he too had disciples, he too had students, and he was always such a very, very happy person. And this is the one who wrote the Tao Te Ching. This is basically the founder of Taoism. And I found this particular message from him to be quite profound. A student asks him, "Master, why is it that you're so joyful all the time? How do you do it?" And do you know what Lao Tzu said? "Every single day when I wake up in the morning, I ask myself a question. Do I desire to be joyful or miserable today? I choose to be joyful. Therefore, I intend everything that represents the day to reflect my joy." And that is exactly what every single one of you need to do. You need to wake up, and as soon as you wake up in the morning, do I make this day joyful or do I make it miserable? And when you therefore put that God intention into the joy, your day will reflect that. Because this is what I do. This is why I feel every day just gets more and more joyful for me. I'm not in misery anymore, right? I used to be. Way before I was doing all this, I was quite miserable. Until I discovered this within myself. Discovered the isness. Discovered the heart. Discover the truth of your being that cannot be assembled in wording, but just felt. And just knowing that every single day that you live, you are making it joyful. Do I choose to make it joyful? Do I choose to make it miserable? All up to you. Okay? It's not up to your neighbor. It's not up to your parents. It's not up to your partner. It's not up to your kids. It's not up to your grandkids. It's not up to your grandparents. It's not up to a politician. It's not up to a government. It's not up to any living entity in the entire universe but you. So, here's the question, my friends. Do you choose this day to be joyful, or do you choose this day to be miserable? Your decision. And if you stand by that joyfulness, that is what you are continuing to exercise throughout the whole day. You're bringing joy to yourself. You're letting everything that you do, whether it's as simple as washing dishes, whether it's as simple as washing your car, whether it's as simple as going to the grocery store, whether it's simple as picking up your kids from school, you're making all of those joyful in the best ways that you can, because you have given yourself a dedication here. Do I choose to make my day joyful, or do I choose to make it miserable? Okay? And if you think outer circumstances are what dictate that, then you're again living in that dualistic ego shadow, with that boulder basically causing that shadow to form where you're huddled in it. You are again making the right decision here about, if I decided to be joyful, I'm going to make it joyful 100%. And it's always in your hands. It's not in some outside force, because there is no outside force. You are the force. All right? Keep that in mind. All right, let's continue to go down here through the list. Okay, here's one from Babito7. So Babito7 asks a question for Adronis. What role does the Interstellar Alliance, frequently mentioned by the Sasani, play in relation to Earth, and how can we establish a stronger connection with them? All right, one moment. We thank you very much for your question. Well, understand that your relationship to them will really be in the background for now. It is not for you really to have a relationship with them that will be in the foreground. That will come at some particular point. But where you need to be on the foreground is you grounded here on the earth in your body, working together with this planet and all of the life upon it. That's your foreground. When you're looking at the cosmic connections, we would love to say to all of you, to make you so happy, oh yes, that can be the foreground, but it can't. It will always be in the background. It will always be minuscule. This is why we have said in the past, we really don't matter to you right now. Well, Adronis, I have my cosmic family, and my cosmic family matters to you. Yes, we understand you have your cosmic family, but they are not here with you as you would understand the vivid physical reality to what you interact with every day. They are meant to be in the background. You're here because you have work to do. You've clocked in. And when you've clocked in, that represents incarnation. And where you're needed is to be in this body, on this planet, working together with the earth to helping you understand yourself a great deal more. That's why you've clocked in to this planet. Yes, you have star family. Yes, you have cosmic family. Yes, you have organizations that you may be familiar with, but they are keeping their hands off you. Even though you want to grab their hands and say, take my hand, take me up to the ship, take me to another planet, they will say no. Because that's not what we're here to do. We're witnessing you from behind the scenes because that is what you have instructed us to do prior to you clocking in. When you clock out, then go ahead. Be with your cosmic family. Be with your star family. Be with your organizations. But that's not what you're here to do on Earth. You're at work. You're working. Yes, you can have some fun in between, but you're working right now. And this is you at work. So it's no more different than you trying to invite your parents and your family, your extended family, while you're working in a factory. Oh yes, come on over. Let's have coffee and tea. Let's have dinner and let's reminisce about the day. You can't do that when you're at work. You have things to do. So this is the exact same analogy that we're attempting to give you. You are not going to go into your factory and clock in and expect all of your friends and relatives to be there while you hang out with them when you know you have work to do in the factory. And they would not do that to you. You're here to work. We're not going to be here. We're only going to get in your way. And that is how the Interstellar Alliance, that is how other organizations see this. We can give you a little chat here and there in between coffee breaks, but we're not here to intercede over your work because you're here to work. Once you are finished work, then we can hang out. Then we can have interactions. Then we can communicate. Rather than just seeing you touch and go here on your breaks. You see? That's how it works. We know so many of you want to have so much attention to your interstellar civilizations that you're connected with. We know that many of you are aware that they have incredible technology on board those ships. We are aware that many of you know that the worlds that they come from have absolutely no poverty, have absolutely no war, have absolutely no starvation, have absolutely no money, have no real problems relating to loved ones, and that you want to go there. Can't be done. because you're here. You are attempting to make this planet like those other ones. How do you expect that to happen without your expertise on the planet as a volunteer? It can't happen. It's not going to happen by itself. It requires your expertise. Expertise, Adronis, I'm just a janitor in a school. That doesn't matter. You are interacting with others and you are bringing them your love. There is something about you that brings about a presence that enriches this planet. If there wasn't that, you wouldn't be here. Every single one of you are all part of the chain to making the Earth eventually develop into many of these other planets that have discovered and realized themselves to move into a civilization that is all about unified consciousness. Because so many of you have done this before. You're experienced. You have a resume energetically. And that is exactly why the Earth chose you to come here, to clock in, to do the work that you're here to do. Every single one of you has that. If you did not, you would not be here. So do not concern about the idea of bringing the foreground of the Interstellar Alliance, the organizations, the Confederation, whatever else that you may be interested in, into your life in the mainstream of your life. It needs to be kept peripheral. It needs to be kept in the background because you are here to accomplish work for as long as you are here. Because if that is not why you are here, you would not be here. All right? That's what we can share regarding your question, Babito 7. Thank you. Okay, very good. Like I said, guys, I know there's a lot of you that are interested in your star family and all that stuff, and believe me, I was too when I first began. But when I started working with Adronis a lot more, it really grounded me, right? So I know that when the time comes, when this life here, incarnationally, takes a toll to the end, then I can definitely go and explore all those things, and many of us can as well too. But we're here to do work. That's really what we're here. This is a service. This is missionary work that we are doing. We're bringing light to this planet because it has been shrouded by darkness for a very, very long time, and we're all lighting torches, and it's working. We're succeeding. We're doing very, very well. So be at work here. When the time for the end of work happens, you'll be with all of those loving beings all the time for as long as you wish until the next job comes around, right? Okay, there's just a quick question here from Benedict about will there be another Etherics live stream this Sunday? Not this Sunday, but the Sunday after. The reason being is because there's a lot of stuff that's happening this week for myself that I have to attend to. So I will not have an Etherics live stream this Sunday, but the Sunday after next, there will be one. Okay? So it's a little bit of a gap today. This is why I had to kind of skip the signpost this week, and I'm also skipping the live stream this week for Sunday for Etherics. Okay? But the Sunday after next, that'll be the next one. Okay, how are we on time here? Okay, 11:15. Okay, guys, that is all for Q&A. We're now going to go ahead and move on to distance healing requests. Okay, because we're running short on time. So I'm going to go to, let me go to the other donator, Nikki here. So Nikki asked for a healing. So she said, last Wednesday I had a fainting episode and apparently was convulsing. I could feel my spine rolling back and forth. I'm pretty bruised up from the fall and very fatigued. Okay, so we need to work on the brain. We need to work on the spine. We need to work on the nervous system. And I'm also going to be working on your immune cells as well too, Nikki. Okay, so Nikki, all I want you to do right now is just keep your spine nice and straight. Try and get yourself nice and straight here. Okay, taking a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Okay, and I will connect with Spirit and we'll go ahead and we'll do some work on you. Right? All I'm doing, guys, is giving you energy work. It's up to the body to take that energy and utilize it as it may for recovery to happen. Your body heals itself. I cannot do that. It's all energy work. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, Nikki, all of that has been sent to you. Okay, so it's been sent to your brain, it's been sent to your spine, it's been sent to your nervous system, and it has been sent to your immune system altogether. So again, if you're noticing some significant changes and you want to contact me over the next few days, you can certainly do that. Just go to wisdomtransmissions.com, go to the contact page. You can drop me an email there if you like. All right, thank you very much for your request. Okay, we're going to go to the top here. I'm going to do 2 more requests, then we're going to go into a group healing. Okay, let me see. I think I saw another one up here not too long ago, so I'm just going to see if I can scroll and find it again. Okay. Okay, I think I missed it. Let's see here. So I know it's okay, here's one from Barbara. That's it. Barbara Faye Robbins asks, can I get some more healing sent to my son Tony? He had a bad car wreck February 2nd. He broke his L1 in his spine. He can move left leg, but no feeling in the midsection. Okay, so that is for your son Tony. So I think what we're just going to do, we're going to do a full spine healing for them. Like I said, working with the brain. So again, here's a very important thing, guys. Your spine is the brain. Okay, your spine is not just the vertebrae, right? It's that, but it represents the brain itself. Okay, so when we're working on the spine, we really want to work on the brain at the same time. The brain and the spine are one. Okay, then again, everything that is connected to the spine are one. Right? So we're going to work on his brain, his spine, his nervous system, okay, to helping him out as well too. As you said, if he's having some numbness in his nervous system, well, again, all that charge that's coming into his spine will help him out over the next little while, okay? So Barbara, if you want to send some loving energy to him as well too, if anybody else wants to send some loving energy to Tony, please feel free to do so, okay? And we'll help him as best as we can. Okay, so here we go. So I'll just take a moment to tune into Tony's frequency. Okay, so that charge has been sent to him, Barbara. Like I said, all I'm doing is energy work, right? It's all coming from spirit. So again, just continue to work with him, give him your love and give him your support. If you want to notice any changes, or if you're noticing any changes that are coming together and you want to notify me about that, again, same thing. Feel free to drop me an email through wisdomtransmissions.com. Okay, blessings to you, Barbara, and all the best to Tony as well. Okay, we're going to do one more individual individual healing request. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down the list here a bit more. Okay. Got a lot of comments here today, so I'm just kind of reading through the list here. Got quite a few people coming on and sharing information. That's great. Okay, I think that's all we have. I think we just had 2 individual requests today, because I'm not seeing any other ones. If I do, I'm missing it. But yeah, I think we're basically I'm just seeing comments from others, but I don't think I see any other individual healing requests. Okay, so that's fine. We'll leave it at that for today. So we're going to go ahead and go into group healing now. So what I'm going to teach you guys today is the combination of the prana transmission technique and the release ball. Okay, I have done this before, but we're going to be using the release ball first, and then working together with the power of the prana transmission technique through the Om chanting to help and clear away any debris within yourself. So what I want you to do right now is just placing one or both hands on your heart, whatever you prefer. And I want you just to tune into yourself, and I want you to feel any particular form of distress, tension, emotional, mental trigger, whatever it may be, physical pain, Okay? Any of those things, I want you just to be aware of where you're sensing that within yourself, right? You don't have to worry about where it's located. Just be aware that you are sensing this, okay? And I'm just going to give you a few seconds just to do that now, okay? Just tuning into the heart, just feeling how you're feeling. Feeling like I'm down in the dumps, I got a headache, I got a backache, right? My knee's sore, I feel depressed, I feel sad, I feel fearful, whatever it may be. Just be aware of what you're feeling, and that's all you have to do. Okay, so just as you're aware of those, we'll take our hands, put them together, and just rubbing them together for a total of 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and creating a chi ball out of it. Okay, about the size of a basketball. And for those of you who are watching this on recording, I want you to do it too. Okay, this is for the live attendees, and this is for you that's watching this on recording. So don't omit yourself, okay? I want you to do this along with me. Okay, so we're creating this ball the size of a basketball, okay? Now, all of those particular sensations that you felt through your body when you were tuning into your heart, I just want you to feel like they're just coming out of the brow like they're bubbles, okay? And so you're holding this big basketball-sized chi ball, and you're just letting those bubbles of problems merge directly into this basketball. Okay, so I want you to do that now. Just feeling them floating out of your brow and coming right into the center of this energy ball, the size of a basketball. Okay, just take a few moments now and do this. Anything physical, anything emotional, anything mental. Doesn't matter what it is. From the smallest to the largest to the smallest, all of it is welcome to come into the ball. This is all on you. You are the one that will make yourself well. Okay? Now that you have placed all of that inside the basketball-sized energy ball, all we're going to do right now is just look at the ball, and I'm going to ask you, on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being that there's absolutely no intensity in this ball, 10 being that there is a lot of intensity contained inside this ball, what ranking would you give everything that's in the ball right now from a scale of 0 to 10? Okay, and just be aware of your number. Okay, be aware of the number. Maybe, okay, it's pretty heavy, feels like maybe a 6 or a 7, right? So you could say a 6.5. Okay, that's fine. But just giving it a number on the scale. Obviously, if you're at 0, then you probably haven't done this right. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're giving it a number. 0 in actuality isn't really a number. Represents an absence of a number. So on a scale of 0 to 10, what would you give everything that you put inside the ball right now? Okay, now that you have that particular number, I want you just to look at the ball and just imagine that you can see the center. It's like you're seeing the nucleus, the core of that energy ball, with all of these bubbles of problems just floating around, orbiting around the center of that energy ball. Okay? All we're going to do now is just like we do in prana transmission technique, is we're going to Om chant into the nucleus, into the center of that energy ball. And that's all we're doing. As you Om chant, that light gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and encompasses the entire ball. Okay? So you let the Om chanting take care of the problems that are in the ball. What you need to do is that as soon as you put those problems in the ball, let go of them. Don't attach to them. Don't tether yourself to them. Once they're in the ball, they're in the ball, right? That's where you want to come to. That's your conclusion for that. Okay? So let's do an Om chant 3 times, right into the center, right into the nucleus of this energy ball. Okay? So all you're doing, you can either Om chant aloud with me, or you can do it mentally, whichever you prefer. Okay, let's begin. Om chanting number 1. Om. Second time, inhale. Om. Third time, inhale. Okay, very good. Now that we have done that Om chanting, we're now going to look back into the ball. We're going to tune into it. It was a certain number on the scale before. Where do you feel it is on the scale now? What number do you feel it is on the scale right now with this ball, as it is right now? Okay. Even if you're noticing that there's still a number there, but if you're noticing it's less than before, you're doing a great job. Okay. We're going to do one more segment together with the 3 ohms. And then after that, you guys are on your own with it. Okay. Because you just keep repeating this technique, not attaching to the problems and the conflicts that you put in the ball. All right. It's like you've severed the cord and they're just floating in this ball, ready to be purged, ready to be brought back into tranquilization with the source consciousness. Okay, so again, just putting your intention at the center of the ball. That's where the Om chanting is going, and its reverberation is creating that source center vibrational light, and it's just absorbing everything into the center. Okay, that's what you're doing. Okay, so let's do this again 3 more times. Inhale. Second time. And third and last time. Okay, very good. Now again, you're just checking in to see exactly what the number is on the scale. Now here's a secret as well too. If you're able to get to just 1 on the scale, the number of 1 on the scale, you're not at 0, but you're at 1. And all you're doing is you're holding that ball and you're just saying to yourself, forgiveness, 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 until the hands come back into prayer posture, and then just let it out and let all of that energy return back into the ether. Okay? So even if you're able to just get it down to 1 on the scale, just keep saying forgiveness. Make that a mantra in your mind. And you're just making it smaller and smaller. Your hands are coming together because you're able to bring that forgiveness and making that ball smaller and smaller until the hands touch, then release that energy into the ethers. And you're done. Which means that in a very short amount of time, all of those problems and conflicts that you have had will disappear from the physical as well too. They'll disappear from the mental, they'll disappear from the emotional, and they will in time disappear from the effects they've had on the physical body, as long as you do not keep repeating the pattern that brought them to you in the first place. You're clearing the pattern. You're not doing this to relieve yourself. You're not doing this because you're putting a band-aid on something. You are doing this to completely liberate those conflicts, completely, permanently. Okay, and the Om chant is making you high. Okay, that is the vibration of the source center that is coming into you. Right, it's getting you high. You feel great about that. And if you need to, keep doing some more Om chanting. Right, because that is what's going to help you to pick up your frequency, to bring you up here, to increase the millivoltage for your cells, so that your cells can now activate, be energized, and clean out your body thoroughly. Now you may ask, Brad, can I do this for another person? Well, you can help out with some surface-based things for him or her, but this is really their job, okay? Their core emotional situations are for them to work on. Now you can work with them, you can cooperate with them, there can be a team effort here, but they have to be the ones to let this go. But for physical, surface-based things, yes, okay? A cold, all right, a pneumonia, a backache, a headache, in that sense, no problem, okay? But if there's traumas involved, abandonment, rejection, abuse, escape, okay, then that's something where they would need cooperation. These are their problems, not yours. Don't take them on. It's not your business, okay? Aid, assist, but do not take on, because these are not your problems to take on, okay? Thank you, everybody, for joining me for this week's episode of Wisdom Transmissions Gathering. Again, I'll be back next week. next Wednesday, same time at 10 a.m. Pacific. And again, I'll be back for signposts next week, next Thursday. And of course, the Sunday after next, we will be having the Etherics live stream. Another thing I forgot to mention as well, too, is I'll be having Janine back on for another interview. Tarot by Janine. She'll be coming on Friday, March 8th. Okay? So you guys want to put that down on your calendars. March 8th, Friday, at 11 a.m. Pacific, I will have Janine on again, Tarot by Janine, and we're going to do some more questions with you guys. Okay, so she will be on Zoom. So make sure you guys, when I put the link up, which will be this weekend, make sure you guys are registering for that and getting on Zoom, and you can ask Janine questions. Okay, so that's Friday, March 8th, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Right, going to be really exciting. So thank you guys. Thank you for being here today. Talk to you again next week. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaskar. And may it be well with you. Bye for now.